Personally, I don't really think that giving up sweets is a good idea if you're trying to overcome sugar cravings. And the reason is because sugar cravings are the effect, it's the symptom, it's not the cause. And if you really want to overcome sugar cravings, we have to find the source for that. We have to find the cause. Because if you can fix the cause, then it's going to help you not have any cravings. Does that make sense? So, this is part 2 of our 4-part sugar series, and I'm going to be walking you through how to overcome feeling out of control without driving yourself crazy trying to quit sugar cold turkey. So, we've already gone over the first part, which was on 5 reasons why you crave sugar in the first place. So, if you want to go ahead and take a second to pause and go back to that one first, go ahead and do that, and I'll catch up with you here. And the one that we're going to be going over right now is 5 misconceptions on the best way to beat sugar cravings. So, I'm going to be covering some common pieces of advice that I hear on how to overcome sugar cravings, things that you can just search on the internet and, the first several things or several articles that you would see come up. And I don't necessarily think that these concepts are wrong, but I do think that they get misinterpreted by people, and in many cases, in a way that makes the sugar cravings even worse. And the reason why I'm making this assumption is because it used to happen to me. I would take this advice, or I would interpret the advice that I would find online in my own manner, and it just kind of made my sugar cravings really, really bad, and it made me feel like I didn't really have enough willpower, and I don't really want that for you, so let's go through them. The first misconception is that you need to increase your protein. So on one hand, I do agree that your body needs more protein because it's going to help you control your blood sugar levels. But the thing is, I also believe that when people hear that they need more protein, they tend to head straight for the animal products like chicken or beef, for example. And when you have very heavy animal protein, which is considered to be very contractive energy in food energetics, then you're more likely to be craving something expansive like sugar. So if you think about it, are you more likely to crave ice cream after having something like pumpkin soup or after having a big juicy steak? The steak, right? So trying to simultaneously quit sugar while also adding in more foods that create sugar cravings doesn't really sound like a great idea. The second misconception is that you need to drink more water. And the idea is that sometimes your body just needs more water, which is why you're having sugar cravings. But most people who crave sugar are also people who eat foods that are dry or lack water content. So for example, let's talk about a sandwich. The water in the bread has already been baked out, and cold cuts don't contain any water in the first place. So dry foods tend to be more contractive in food energetics, which means that you're more likely to crave something like sugar, which is expansive. If you start focusing on selecting foods that have a higher water content, instead of eating dry foods and then dousing yourself with more water, then you're more likely to reduce your sugar cravings. And the reason is because the foods that have more water content are fruits and vegetables, and these tend to have the nutrients and the flavors that you would need to reduce a sweet tooth. The third misconception is that you need to eat fruit instead whenever you have a sugar craving. But the thing is, if you're already at the point where you have a really intense sugar craving, then trying to substitute your craving for fruit will feel like torture. And, well, at least it did for me. And the reason is because fruit has a very different texture and also an oral experience than eating something like cake. So apples are crunchy, they're cold, and they have a tart sweetness. But cake is soft, it has a much more subtle but also defined sweetness, and it makes you feel more relaxed. So these experiences are very, very different. Okay, so now that you understand a little bit of some misconceptions about the best way to go about overcoming sugar cravings, let's continue on with the series. And the next one is 4 easy ways to stop sugar cravings even if you're an addict.